Hello there, I'm Wiley Smith. I'm the fellow who has designed the beds for the New Joy Orphanage in Haiti, and I'm making this video at 11 o'clock at night, the night before we are shipping all these beds to Haiti for the sake of teams and folks who are going to be going down to assemble them. I'm very appreciative of the folks who are going to be doing the work on the beds, and being as there's a lot of work that still needs to be done. And the idea of these beds is that they would be very functional, very comfortable, attractive, and would last a long time, and would give some protection for the children of the orphanage from things like malaria and dengue fever and whatever else that the mosquitoes may carry, such that the beds have a built-in mosquito net that will stay around the beds the whole time. Now, my family and I have been working for at least 6 months to assemble all the things that you may need to go and put these beds together. Here's a big 20-foot U-Haul truck just loaded down with mattresses and bed parts and such forth, and we'll be putting them in a container tomorrow, Lord willing, and shipping them to Haiti, such that they should be arriving in Haiti sometime in June. Now, you should have most everything you need, the lumber, the screws, the nuts, the bolts, and such forth, but I did want to show you some things that you'll need to bring so that you can do the job. Now, the first part of the job is going to involve sanding the wood. Okay, the wood we have is 2x4s and 2x6s and pieces of plywood and such forth, and we've cut them out. We've drilled all the holes, the big holes for the nuts and the screws and such forth, but you're still going to need to do some sanding. Okay, so you want to bring along some good sandpaper, and consider bringing some hand or some power sanders, such as this here vibrating sander. Now, you must, when you're talking about tools down in Haiti, I recommend that you don't bring rechargeable battery tools. The reason is that for the airplanes these days, they have gotten very fussy about these rechargeable batteries, and they don't want you to carry rechargeable batteries much larger than what you got in your laptop or your cell phone. So you might consider that. Other things you're going to need, you're going to need to drill some pilot holes for some of the wood screws that hold the thing together. So you can bring yourself a electric drill with some small drill bits that you can drill those holes. The screws and such forth are going to be provided for you, but you're going to need something to drive those screws. And so we have here a very fine Phillips head screwdriver. Or if you have a variable speed drill, you could use that as your screwdriver as well. You're going to need some wrenches to tighten up the bolts, the nuts and the bolts and such forth. All the nuts and bolts will take these 9/16 inch wrenches. Okay, so you can bring a couple of those or some adjustable wrenches. The screen that goes around the beds, you're going to need to secure that with staples, so bring yourself some staple guns. Okay, so I'm going to pack along quite a few staples, but please do bring a staple gun, and if you want to bring some more staples just to make sure, that would be fine as well. Now, I happen to be a doctor, and I go on a lot of missions trips, and so my job is to keep missions teams healthy and happy, and there's nothing worse than getting sick on a missions trip. So you want to make sure you're going to do the safety thing while you're in Haiti. Okay, you want to wear gloves. Okay, if you're going to be using those power tools, you get you some ear muffs or some of the little foam things that you stick in your ear so that you don't lose your hearing. Okay, you don't want to get dehydrated. It gets really hot in Haiti. Okay, so you want to bring water bottles and things like Gatorade powder, and make sure everybody in your team is just drinking lots and lots of water. You want sunscreen, okay? Got hot sun down there, so get you some good sunscreen, put it on. and very important, insect repellent. Okay, this is some insect repellent that has 100% DEET in it, and that's the stuff that works very well. Okay, so get you some insect repellent and slather it on several times a day. I always bring a mosquito net to put around my bed to keep the mosquitoes away. Now, one more detail: when you get down to Haiti, there will be electricity for your power tools, but that electricity is located at the medical clinic, which is about 100 yards away from the orphanage. I'm not sure if there's going to be electricity in the orphanage itself, as it is under construction at this time. You might want to check with the crew down in Haiti before you go to see if you're going to have electricity. But if not, recommend you bring lots and lots of extension cords so that you can have power for your power tools. Now let's look at the lovely wood with which we're going to build this bed. Now I've just got some of the pieces of wood kind of propped up and off the ground here so you can see what you're going to be getting. Everything is made out of 2x4s, 2x6s, and various different kinds of plywood. And each bed has about 26 different pieces of wood that you're going to be assembling. Okay? So after you have sanded the wood, the next task is going to be to paint the wood. I forgot to mention that you may want to think about paint brushes. Okay, now I have packed along 72 inexpensive paint brushes. The varnish that you're going to be using is oil-based varnish, and so it's going to be kind of hard to keep those paint brushes clean. So you want to get some, use our cheap paint brushes, and don't worry about trying to reuse the brushes. You'll need to wait about, put at least 2 coats of varnish on the wood and wait about 4 hours between each coat. Now, the box of the bed is made out of 2x6s, and there's a short piece that is at the foot and the head of the box that holds the thing up, holds the mattress up, and you can recognize the short piece for the ends in that it has 2 holes drilled on each side. Okay? And then there is a longer piece of 2x6 that goes along the sides of the bed. Okay? And you will notice that we are securing things together with bolts. We have 5-inch bolts and we have 3.5-inch bolts. So I'll be showing you where to put those bolts. Okay, now to put the box together, what you're going to need to do is to drill some holes on the end and put in your 3-inch long wood screws. Okay, so there's some 3-inch long wood screws. These aren't just, and this particular one doesn't happen to be a Phillips head, but the screws I'm providing for you are Phillips head screws. So you'll put it on the ground or level concrete and assemble it so it's nice and straight and 90 degrees square. Now you will also find for each of the beds there is 5 pieces of 2x4 that are kind of short, and you'll notice that they don't have any holes drilled into them. Okay, these are the supports that hold the piece of plywood up that supports the mattress. Okay, so we're going to suspend these inside the box. Now you'll notice that there is a thing we call a joist hanger here that holds this 2x4 up, and I've got the joist hanger secured to the 2x6 box with some 1-inch wood screws, which we're providing for you as well. Okay, so you're going to have 3 of these pieces of 2x4 which go inside the box and are held together with the joists. Now there are 2, you'll find for each bed 2 other of the same size of 2x4s, which we will be using at the top. Now let's look in a little bit more detail at the leg pieces. Surprise, surprise, there are 4 legs on the bed, and each leg is made out of 2x4 pieces. There are 2 short 2x4 pieces. You see it right here, and you could recognize these because there will be 2 holes in the middle of those two short pieces. And then there is a long piece of 2x4 that goes on one side of it, okay, which also has two holes with which you'll secure that to the short pieces. And then you'll find these two holes right here a little bit further up into one side. This is what you use to secure it to the box. Now I've got the four legs on the bed, and you'll notice that we have each of the legs secured to the box with two bolts, which are 3.5-inch bolts, and we got on both sides, we've got washers to protect the wood. Down below here you see the other bolts, which are longer. These are 5-inch bolts. You use those to assemble the leg pieces, the three leg pieces that are bolted together. Now when I am doing this putting the legs on, initially I don't tighten the leg pieces very tightly. The reason is that we're going to go up above here on the top of the leg pieces, and we're going to be building a box out of more pieces of 2x4 to use for the mosquito screen. And we need a little bit of wobble here so we can move it easily around, and we can match the lengths of the other pieces that we're going to use for the mosquito screen. Here are the pieces of wood that we're going to use to build the frame at the top that secures the mosquito screen. You got the two short pieces of 2x4 which look the same, or actually are the same length as the ones we used on the underneath the bed box. And then we have longer pieces that you'll recognize because at the end of each they have a notch cut out right there, and I will show you exactly what that notch will do in just a second. So here we're putting the long piece on the top that with about a 2.5-inch wood screw, and we have the notch part sitting on the one side of the upright of the leg 2x4. And notice that there is a little place right here that's cut out from the long piece such that we can put the short piece of the 2x4 to go at the head and the foot. So that's why you got the notch in this big long piece of wood. Now that we've got the long piece put on the sides for the top frame, we can put the short piece on. Notice how it fits in the notch that was cut into the long piece, and the same thing over on the other side as well. Now we've got the frame, top frame, all the way around on the four sides. Now that we've done that, we can go ahead and tighten up those nuts that hold the bolts and the nuts that hold the legs to the box frame here, so it's nice and tight, and then we don't have any wobble at all in the bed. Now that the basic frame of the bed is all complete, it's time to put on the plywood, which goes on top of the box frame thing here, and that is what will hold up the mattress. Now please do put a lot of varnish on this plywood here so that it's more durable. This is OSB plywood. It's a wood chip kind of stuff. It looks kind of rough, but it's not going to be seen because it's going to be up underneath the mattress, but you want to make it more water resistant, so if you would put that varnish on there too. Now we've got that plywood applied to hold up the mattress. You can see it makes a nice firm surface. It will be really good to hold things up here. Now the next part involves making these beds look pretty. What we've done is to cut out headboards for each of the beds, and we recommend or say that you should, instead of putting varnish on these headboards, you're going to want to paint them white. Now the headboards are made out of plywood, and the plywood has a nice side and a not so nice side, so you want to put the nice side so that it's facing the bed, and the not so nice facing the wall. Also what we've done is to get some artistic metal cutouts. These were done by a plasma cutter, and they're based on some ancient Chinese paper cutting art that we found in an old book. And we scanned those and we brought them to our friends at the Sims Industries here in Dalton, who have a plasma cutter, and they were very nice to cut us out 63 of these artistic designs. There's about 4 different designs. 3 of them are kind of flowers and birds and that sort of thing, but there's one of them which is a boy catching a fish, and so that might be nice for the boys' side of the orphanage. We painted them all sorts of different colors, and so you can kind of mix and match. There's a cloth piece that goes on the side of the bed, and you want to try to make the color of the artistic cutout match the cloth. So assuming you've already painted the plywood with at least 2 coats of the white paint, we put in 5 gallons of white paint for you to do that with. You want to secure the artwork to the headboard. Okay, we got the 63 headboards all cut out and ready to go. Now the artwork will have little places for screw holes. There'll be 4 screw holes in each one of those, and you'll want to use 1/2 inch wood screws to secure that to the headboard. So here's what the headboard looks like when it is in position on the bed. Now, I have been lazy and haven't actually screwed it in because I got to take this thing apart and put it into the truck to be shipped. But you'll have 3 screw holes already drilled for you on each side of the headboard, so it should be easy to put those 1-inch screws right through that to secure it to the legs at the front of the bed. Now, to make sure that the mosquitoes don't get to the kids, what we're going to do is to cover all but one side of the bed with fiberglass screen, mosquito screen like you have in your windows at your house. It's not wire, but it's fiberglass, so it's real nice. It won't cut folks and everything. Now, I have provided for you 1,400 feet of this fiberglass screen, and it is 36 inches wide, and it is just barely wide enough to cover the sides and the top of the bed. So here we got it applied to the top, to the head of the bed, and we got it wrapped all the way around. We're going around the top of the bed, and it wraps on around to the foot of the bed. Okay. Then over on the other side, we have another separate piece that covers one side of the bed. Okay, now the kids are going to need to be able to get into the bed, so what we do, instead of covering the other side with screen so they couldn't get into bed, we've got a piece of cloth. Okay, we have some pieces of canvas cloth that we have dyed in various different shades, colorful shades and such forth. So these are all these things are secured to the bed with staples. Okay, so that's what the staple gun is. You're going to want to do a much nicer job than what I've done here with just a few staples to make it nice and tight. Now there's one other thing that is a trick that we can do to make it so that the mosquitoes will have a really hard time getting to these kids, and that is to treat the netting and the canvas with an insecticide. There's a kind of insecticide called permethrin, which is really safe stuff. They use it on animals, you know, to get rid of flies and things like that, but it's also used in head lice shampoo. Okay, so we can apply this permethrin to the screening material and to the side of the cloth on the side of the bed, such that if the mosquitoes even just light land on it, they will die. Okay, so it's been found to be a very nice thing to prevent mosquito-borne illnesses, to treat your mosquito netting and such forth with the permethrin. Okay, now this is some 10% permethrin I picked up at Farmer's Supply, and it's, Tractor Supply, okay? and wasn't too terribly expensive, but this is kind of too concentrated. It's 10%. Okay, so what we do is we're going to take about 30 milliliters or 2 tablespoons of this stuff and put it in a bucket with 3 gallons of water, and then we can take our screening material and such forth and the cloth on the sides and soak it in that, let's say, for about 10 minutes, and then you pull it back out and you let it dry, and then you can apply it to the beds. Okay, so I'm packing along this one thing of permethrin here. This should make about 30 buckets for treatment, so that should be enough. Okay, if you get low on it, you might want to let us know so we can ship some more down there. So it'll get time to put on the mattress here. Each of the beds has a nice custom-made mattress, which is made out of 5-inch foam. We thank Mr. David Leverett and the Teeler Company, who volunteered their services to sew up these mattresses just for us. And we also have 200 sheets, U.S. Army surplus sheets, the best in the world. And we have 63 brand new pillows from Walmart, okay, and pillowcases as well. So these you can apply to each bed. I don't think these kids are quite used to the idea of sleeping on sheets and pillows and such forth, but hopefully they will enjoy it. And now there's one more kind of curtain that you're going to find in the shipment that doesn't go on the bed itself, but rather is going to be a divider between the beds. And this is about a curtain which is about 12 feet long and 12 feet wide, 6 feet long. And you'll notice that it has grommets at the edges of it right here. Okay, and the plan is to have some hangers, which we're including in the shipment. And the hangers will be used to attach to the grommets here, and then there will be a rod or something like that in each of the rooms that will be used to hang this divider curtain on. These are various different colors, and so you can kind of mix and match and see what looks good. It's now a few days after the shipment, and I'm a little bit better rested. But I do have a correction to make concerning the varnish and paint for the beds. It turned out we could not ship our oil-based varnish, so instead I shipped 14 cans of white semi-gloss latex paint. So this could be used on the bed itself, the wood parts, especially the headboard. Or when you get down there, you can buy some varnish down in Haiti if you so desire. I kind of think the beds will look better with the varnish on the wood parts except for the headboard, but you could use the white paint on all the different parts. Now, this is a very involved project, and it wasn't just me doing it. I had a lot of help from a lot of different people, especially members of my family. I'd like to give a few credits here, especially my wife Karen, my son Nathan, my daughters Deanna and Erica, my daughter-in-law Amanda Smith, David Leverett, and the crew at Teeler Products who sewed up the mattresses. We also have Alan Little and the Sims Company, CIMS Company from Dalton, who did the artistic metal cutouts. Anita Moore and Betty Henderson from our church here in Dalton, who helped with the cloth dyeing. Patrick Hall from Chattanooga and his family, who helped us do a lot of the moving of the heavy workshop equipment. Pastor Martin Hawley and the whole crew at Reformation Hope, who are raising the money to build the orphanage. And especially our Lord Jesus, who gave us the inspiration and strength to make this project happen. We'll be praying very much for those teams going down to Haiti to assemble the beds. And please feel free to get in contact with me if there's any questions. The best way is by my email, which is wsmithmd@aol.com.